All right, got another group v group match. This time between Vincent from Squirtles, Crazy Fox, and Arc from Central Guard Arc. The links to the two groups in the description. Make sure to join them for like competitive content and just like mods in general. And before anything, make sure to drop a like, subscribe. I mean, all that fun stuff. But basically, this is just my analysis of the battle, and let's go and get started. So, Arc brought Urshifu, Magearna, Moltres, Tapu Fini, Landers, and Hydreigon, and Vincent brought Tyranitar. We've seen this team before, different variations of it. Tyranitar, Dracozolt, Kartana, Clef, Moltres, and Excadrill. And let's go ahead. Music speed slow, music off. Alright, so Vincent led with his Tyranitar, Guard left led with his Landers. He EQ'd, which didn't kill, but I think he forgot, because we've seen this team before. I think he forgot that this thing is carrying Ice Beam, so he lost Landers turn 1, which is really unfortunate. Because from what I recall, this is a special Landers. He goes Hydreigon, which I don't know why that scared out the Tyranitar. I guess he was worried that it might have superpower. Clef, I mean, just eats up the Earth Power, which really didn't do too much at all. And he goes Magearna here, which can switch into Clef, but he goes into his Excadrill. And without Lando there, I mean, Drill is really a problem. And he SDs there. I'm not sure if that'll one hit, I mean, kill Fini outright. But I mean, he pretty much just has to click Scald. He Iron Heads here. Gets the flinch, which, I mean, sucks. Goes back into Moltres. I mean, that's pretty much his only thing. He's kind of have to fish for a burn, because nothing on his team really, it's just kind of playing around it. Goes for Rock Slide there. Urshifu takes that, and he lands the Wicked Blow, but I mean, he's Sash, so it didn't matter too much, unfortunately. Hydreigon comes out. He goes into Clef again, and he can Earth Power here. I'm not sure why he went with Dark Post when Earth Power was honestly the safer move, because even if he switched into Moltres, Moltres still, I mean, fears the Dark Pulse, and it guarantees damage super effective on pretty much everything else on the team. Just Earth Power in general would have been the more optimal move. So he gets Floor Cannon on Magearna. And I mean, now Drill just kind of comes back out. Well, Dracozolt comes now, and Bolt Beak just kills that, and I think that maybe GG. I don't really think that he has anything that can just outright kill. So he survives that, gets an Earth Power off, but now he has to worry about Drill, because Drill basically, I think Drill might be able to kill Fini here. It's pretty much he has to just kind of hope that he doesn't flinch it. If he flinches, okay, he didn't flinch, nice. So he lands the Scald, which kills. But now, I mean, he has a hard time against Clef. And this is one of the reasons why I said he should have went for Earth Power earlier, because that would have, I mean, guaranteed it. He goes Moltres here. Gets catch the Leaf Blade, which, I mean, he just takes it. Goes into Clef, and I mean, dealing with Clef here is going to be really tough, especially if it's Calm Mind. He just loses here, and Flamethrower just doesn't do enough damage. He Toxics, which pretty much just makes it GG, because I mean, from the damage you're saying, he would pretty much have to get 2 crits in a row and a burn to actually have any chance of really just powering through this Clef. So he goes Fini here, but I mean, he really had no reason to do anything but click Moonblast, so he could have done that. And Fini comes out, and Fini can click Scald, but okay, well, Drain Kiss actually did a lot, but Moonblast is also boosted, and he gets the Spidef drop, so that actually really isn't in his favor. He goes for Calm Mind here, but it might be a little too late, maybe. Drops it down to 2%, and yeah, he can Drain and Kiss here, but I don't know if it'll be enough to really... It's gonna be close. It's gonna be a roll. Yeah, he lost it. Because Moltres, like I said, Moltres can't beat it outright. Goes for a Flamethrower, doesn't do enough, and I mean, he can just pretty much keep clicking Soft Wall and just beat out the Moltres here. He goes to his own Moltres just to kind of... I'm not really sure why, because Clef could have at the same time just wins anyways. So it was a little weird switch out here. Yeah, the Toxic will... I think Toxic kills this turn. Yep, and that's game 1. And let's go ahead and move over to game 2. Speed slow, music off, and Arc brought Spectier, Urshi, Slowbro, Tapu Koko, Moltres, and Ferrothorn, and Vincent brought in his Heatran, Slowking Galar, Rillaboom, Clef, Moltres, and Urshifu. Alright, so let's go ahead and start. Koko comes out, and I mean, he can't really do much to Rillaboom here. So his best thing to do is maybe click U-turn or Volt Switch and go into Moltres, but I guess he didn't want to take any damage from a potential Grassy Glide. Goes to his own Moltres here, Roost up, because I mean, Rillaboom didn't want to do anything. He lost his Heavy Duty Boot, so makes keeping that thing at full health like really important. Goes U-turn. Goes into a Slowking here. And Volt Switches, does a solid 33%, and he can go into Urshifu and just click Wicked Blow. He just has to worry about the Clef and the Moltres. Okay, so he doubles into Koko. I think he might have been suspecting that Moltres would be lured out, and that Volt Switch did a lot, so I think that's definitely Specs damage. Goes for the Moonblast, hits Ferrothorn. I mean, the Spadef drop doesn't matter to Ferro. And it eats up the Future Sights. I mean, looks like, yeah, free rocks here. And then, I mean, Heatran does the same, free rocks. And he can go into a Slowbro to kind of pivot around. It goes Moltres, okay. And Moltres gets bought with a Toxic, and I mean, that's a little worrisome. Goes into his own Moltres, and I mean, it's a forced defog here. I mean, it's a free defog, my bad. So he can go into his Koko on the defog. So he goes Slowbro. Not sure why he wouldn't want to like get the rocks away now. He goes Koko, which I mean, Koko can kind of switch into Urshifu. And Koko goes Roost here. And Rillaboom, I mean, pretty much is going to run right into Moltres again. Clicks U-turn. I mean, he's fishing for that burn and playing a little risky switching into it. And I mean, again, this is Moltres' time to... I mean, it's a free defog. Yep. And then Koko can basically steal some momentum by clicking Volt Switch on the predicted, yep, Slowking Galar. And he goes Urshifu here, and again, it's a free Wicked Blow. It's just same situation, have to worry about the burn. And his Urshifu unfortunately caught the burn. He goes Clef here. Hits it with a Wicked Blow. I personally would have just hard switched out into Koko. But I mean, he goes Pharaoh here, and I mean, it's free rocks. Or if he catches it with a knockoff, God, still not enough damage. And Coco comes out, gets off a roost. Goes back to Slowking Galar. I mean, easy Volt Switch here. Go Spec Tier, and I mean, he can just pretty much spam Specs if he has it. Okay, Substitute. Goes for Future Sight here. Combines up on it. And, I mean, Scald's not doing anything. Goes for another Combine. Breaks, takes the Future Sight damage, and 60%, I mean, that's still pretty solid. And he can go put up another sub here. Yep, and then, I mean, nothing wants to take that Hex. Or he can just go ahead and burn the Rilla. Gets the burn, and he can basically go back into another sub. The only thing he has to worry about is if the Clef is unaware or not. Yeah, judging from that damage, Clef is definitely unaware. I wouldn't have went for a sub there, just because, I mean, it is unaware Clef, so it's like you're gonna have a hard time beating it and setting up on it because he breaks your sub every single time. So it's kind of just like, it's a bit of wasted turns. So he goes for Aromatherapy, and now I think his Rillaboom was burned, and so it's no longer burned anymore. So he gets up a Wisp here. Like, I mean, with the burn with Wisp plus Hex, I mean, it does a lot more damage, but it's really risky. He goes for Moonblast here, and he kind of messed up there by not going for him. Well, never mind, he get the Wish recovery back here. So he goes for another sub. I mean, perfect time to Aromatherapy here. And he goes for Toxic instead. So that was not the best play to make there. Goes for Hex, drops it down a clean 58%. Goes for Wish, and what's it running? So it's not carrying Protect, so I mean, it's going to get hit with Hex regardless, or anything. He goes Urshifu here. And the problem with this is that Urshifu, yeah, it's going to get the Wish health right back, but it's also going to get caught with a Will-O-Wisp. It'll still break through the sub, but it's not damage it wants to take. Goes for another sub here. And I mean, he's going for Wicked Blow again, so I mean, that kind of shows you the power of Urshifu. That he's still, I mean, even burned, he still breaks the subs. I think he's going for subs again to just see if he can force the switch out, or potentially to wear it down a little bit more. Goes for Hex. Oh yeah, so got him right in Hex range. So he gets the Grimnay off, and I mean, he has to go Rillaboom here because I mean, that's really the only thing that can force it out because everything else on the team is slower. So goes into Moltres. I mean, Moltres has to click Roost here. Yep. I mean, it's again, it's gonna be a free Future Sight for Slowking. Okay, so he goes Slowbro, and Slowbro is also a good alternative to sponge up a Future Sight, and he can click Future Sight of his own. Okay, he teleports here, and he goes Tapu Koko, so he has to be careful here because the Future Sight damage. So he goes into Moltres here, goes for Superpower, and the Future Sight damage may kill the Moltres. Okay, so he gets the burn, which is great. 13%. Toxic. Okay, so he survived. Okay, so Goes into a spec tier, and I mean spec tier can basically put up another sub. Or go slow, bro. Yeah, he saw the Heatran coming. Nice. And Slowbro can click Scald here. And that does a nice 40%. And free rocks for Heatran, but I mean, he catches another Scald. And I mean, he pretty much has to go into his either Clef or... Okay, well, Rillaboom is already burned, so I mean, I guess that's fine. Because offensively, it still can do some work, I guess. I mean, best thing to do is press U-turn. He can press U-turn or anything else, and then Slowbro just presses Teleport. And he takes the Rocky Helmet damage as well. So he goes Moltres, teleports, and he's going to go into Tapu Koko. And again, it's going to maintain momentum, and he's going to click Volt Switch here. And he can go Urshifu. Even... Okay, so now he can go into his Clef, which is... Okay, he goes Moltres instead. Okay. I mean, even still, Urshifu doesn't really do too much damage to the Moltres. And Moltres doesn't really need to defog or roost, so he can just attack and kill it outright. But I mean, it is getting good damage off, so he forces him to roost here, and I think Urshi will die. No, he'll live. Okay, so he can click Wicked Blow again. He goes for the roost here, and then I think Koko can come in. I mean, it will still kill outright anyways, but I mean, it'll force the Slowking and take more chip damage. Cause I'm not, yeah. Okay, so he went for Thunderbolt, which I personally would have just did Volt Switch. Momentum, get right back in front. So he goes for Future Sight here, and the Sledge Wave actually does a lot of damage. Goes for Teleport, goes into his Ferrothorn here, and what's the Slowking have? So we don't know if it's running Flamethrower yet, but Ferrothorn can get up free rocks here. Damn, Flamethrower did a lot too. This might be a more offensive variant of Slowking. The Assault Vest is gone now, which is great. So now Tapu Koko doesn't really fear. Tapu Koko just Volt Switch again, and Slowking is no longer a safe switch in. And Slowbro comes back out, and I mean, he can take the U-turn and just click Teleport again, just for momentum's sake. And then after that, I think Koko can just tee off with Volt Switches. I mean, Thunderbolts. So he goes Koko here, and terrain changed, and I believe Thunderbolt just kills everything here. I mean, he can go back to Rillaboom, change the terrain, which will reduce the power of electric attacks. Goes in Slowbro again. I mean, if he touches anything, I mean, it's going to take the Rocky Helmet damage plus burn, but he does get some recovery back via the grassy terrain. And I mean, Slowbro can pretty much just click Teleport again. Yep, and that's a dead Rilla, and he goes back into Koko. And I mean, here he just clicks T-Bolt. And I believe that will be GG. Yeah, because Clef is at 19%. And that is GG, game 2. So it's now tied up 1-1 for both sides. And here comes game 3. Speed slow, music off. And Arc brought, was that Tornadus, Kartana, T-Tar, Aegislash, Buzzwole, and Tapu Fini. And Vincent brought out Magearna, Zapdos, Lando, Cinderace, Kyurem, and Clefable. And I mean, yeah, about to say Coco just clicks buttons a bit. I believe this is a Scarf, Feeny, a Scarfini team. Morgana comes in and Aegislash gets sent out. So it is shift gear, but I mean, Aegislash does really handle that set pretty well. Because usually it runs a Fighting Stab for Dark types plus the stored power. So he goes Clef, which, I mean, gets bought by an Iron Head. And, I mean, he has to go into his Lando T here. Goes Buzzwole, which, I mean, just soaks up hits from Landorus. I mean, Buzzwole can pretty much get off a free Toxic here if he wants to, but I believe he'll go into Magearna. Oh, no, he goes Zapdos, okay. Yeah, free Toxic. Goes into T-Tar, sets up the Sand. Goes to the Vote Switch, which doesn't really do much at all. Goes into his Lando T here, and his only... Yeah, he goes back into Buzzwole. So, I mean, he can get up free rocks here, just in case. Just to kind of rack up some chip damage, but he goes for U-turn, and he's probably going to go Zapdos again. Whether or not Zapdos can land a Hurricane in the Sandstorm is risky, but I mean, it's not worth it. So he goes T-Tar. And T-Tar gets bought with a Toxic as well. So he clicks Vote Switch. I mean, again, he's probably going Lando T. And T-Tar gets up free rocks here, but I mean, he has to switch out. I mean, it's easy again going straight into Buzzwole. I mean, and okay, so he went for Earthquake, so that was not really the move to make. And now Buzzwole can kind of just click an offensive attack. Goes for Ice Punch, which does a good bit of damage to Zapdos. And he pretty much has a choice of either Defog here or Roost. So he goes T-Tar, and I mean, T-Tar can pretty much just spam. I believe he can click Crunch if he's carrying it. I mean, Lando T might not like it, but I mean, or just click Stone Edge. Okay, he goes for Crunch. Doesn't get the defense drop, but he gets the Sandstorm damage plus Toxic, which kills the Zapdos. And now, I mean, he has to go Lando T again here. And he can, Buzzwole comes out, clicks U-turn, and goes into the Magearna. I mean, that's the only real choice there. Okay, so he goes Kyurem. I think Kyurem might be able to do something to it. Yeah, it kills it. So Kyurem comes out, and now he can go, I believe he can go back into Aegislash, maybe. Oh, he goes Feeny. He just has to be careful in case this thing has Freeze Dry, but I believe it specs Kyurem. Goes for Moonblast, gets the Spadef drop. I mean, special attack drop. I don't know why I said Spadef. Goes Slash. Since I was Lando to kind of switch back in. And I mean, it's kind of just going to become like a game of like momentum here. Because now that Feeny is gone, I mean, he can click U-turn for momentum, or he's got options, but I mean, he still has to make like some pretty wise choices here. Click Surf again. Goes back into AG on the Kyurem, and I mean, Aegislash can pretty much take any one hit and then dish back out a Iron Head, but he goes into his Kyurem. Takes the Earth Power pretty well, but he gets the Spadef drop, and plus he's Toxic, so he doesn't really want to take another one. So it goes Torn. I mean, it is spec, so it's locked in. So Torn can pretty much just click either knockoff or U-turn. Okay, so he goes Weather Ball. I still don't know what Sandstorm Weather Ball does. Okay, so he's not specs. Alright. Oh, so he's heavy duty boots. That is right. I didn't pay attention to that. I thought it'd be specs. He bluffed the specs and he fooled me. Or I'm just stupid. So he knocks off the Scar from the Lando, which is actually really good. So Leaf Blade goes for superpower, which does a lot of damage. Knocks off the Lando T's Choice Scarf. Goes into Magearna here, and I mean, yeah, Sacred Sword does a decent amount of damage. Goes for the Drain Kiss there, but that doesn't really do much, and he still has Aegislash, which handles it pretty well. And Aegislash can pretty much just click Iron Head, and that kills. I don't think the crit really mattered. And then Kyurem comes back out. I mean, he can go into his T-Tar to just start up some sand damage. That way, I mean, he kind of defines the amount of turns that are left, basically. So he gets the split F drop. So I know it's Earth Power, Ice Beam, probably Freeze Dry, and Draco Meteor for the last 2 slots. Alright, and Arcanine won. So the game ended up being 2-1 in favor of Arc, so that's 2 points for Central and 1 point for Squirtle Squad. And in the comments, I mean, let me know what you thought of the battle, and I'll see you guys later.